Folks, it cannot get any easier than this.
I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. And today, we're gonna be washing this car inside and out. So we'll brush them off nicely with one product.
It's called Rinseless Wash.
We're not gonna be using a pressure washer. We're just gonna be using a garden hose, keeping it simple, keeping it real, and keeping it fun.
Our products are good enough for pros, but the thing I always say is, can I teach a family member to wash their own car, to polish it, to ceramic coat it? And with our lineup professional grade products, easy to use, the answer is yes.
Definitely. So with that, we've already preloaded our things. So we have a 5-gallon bucket of water. We have 5 capfuls of the Rinseless Wash in that bucket. Our wheel bucket has 3 gallons of water. We put in 3 capfuls. Incredible measuring system here.
1 capful, 1 gallon, that is how you measure a rinseless wash. We're gonna foam it with our IK foamer first to really encapsulate some of the dirt. It's one of those where if you have a very lightly soiled car, go ahead and pre-spray it with the Rinseless Wash. Put that foam on the car, let it dwell a little bit, and it is safe to wash your car. But when you have access to free-flowing water, even just a hose, we're gonna pre-spray it, let it foam, let it dwell, and then we're gonna rinse it off and then do the wash.
Right, and as you can see, this car is not exactly clean. We could write "wash me" on it, but we're not gonna do that. But nonetheless, we can see how much dirt accumulation it has on it. It's been through salt, it's been through a few snowstorms since the last time it was washed, so we can see that it's not exactly perfect on the outside.
My good sir, would you mind the foam action here? And I can kind of talk a little bit more about what we're gonna do later.
Off we go.
So Ivan is gonna go ahead and hit the wheels, the rims, and all the paint. Now, we're not gonna stop there after this wash. We're actually gonna use our Rinseless Wash for the interior as well. And you might be like, what? Indeed, it is a very high surfactant rinseless wash, which cleans interiors exceptionally well, and it even does windows. So it's just an amazing product. If you were gonna choose one product in our line to use, I guess this video is to sort of help you understand this is the one.
Right. And the one little caveat with these foamers is you have to keep pumping them up. The less water you have in them, actually, the longer the foaming action will last. But until we get to that point, you have to pump it a few times.
Now, Ivan, we could have brought out the big boys. We could have brought out all the fancy tools. We could have foamed our Rinseless Wash. It does indeed foam. We could have brought out a more, I guess, high-end foamer, but we're trying to show you on a budget with one product how you can do this in the best way really possible. I mean, this is gonna give you the optimal clean. It's just bare bones.
Yeah, and bare bones, but simple as well. And for the professional as well. If you're a mobile detailer, this is really one of the only products you need.
Sometimes as a mobile detailer, I would go to the customer's house and there's a big debate on all the Facebook forums. Can you use the customer's water? Can you use their power? And I never found the customers ever minded. I would just politely ask them, hey, do you mind if I hook up to your hose or whatever? And if you don't want to bring a pressure washer with you, if you're balling on a budget, you can do this with just a hose. If they have a hose that's long enough and they even have a, a little trigger on there, go ahead and do it. So for example, this is a cheap hardware store. You got different settings here. We got shower. Out of direct sunlight, you can let the Rinseless Wash dwell as long as you want.
Getting the front end and then we're good to go.
Okay.
So what the Rinseless Wash is doing for us, it's emulsifying the dirt. It's breaking it down and it's providing exceptional lubrication. These are nice, simple wheels to do.
A lot of folks ask about a Rinseless Wash. Well, how do I do the wheels? It's simple. You can do a nice thorough job as well. I mean, there's a way to do rinses without a hose, no doubt.
And when we say rinseless, we don't mean you're never rinsing. It's we don't rinse the product off. So it's acting as its own drying aid.
This is why ceramic coatings are so amazing. Or even quick beads, which is our water activated ceramic. You spray it on a wet wheel, a wet rim face, then you rinse it off and it adds immediate beading and slickness and that ceramic graphene infused protection. It just makes cleaning your wheels so much easier. So if you're a detailer out there and you get a maintenance client, go ahead and give a few sprays of quick beads when you're done washing the car and it's still wet, then rinse it off. It'll make your life so much easier when you go ahead and clean the
next
rim
time.
faces again, or if it's your own car. Obviously, that makes a ton of sense. But we're not talking about quick beads. We're keeping it simple today.
Exactly.
I'm gonna follow right behind Ivan with our Legacy sponge. It is specifically formulated to work with our rinseless wash. Very thick. That means no pressure points. I am applying zero pressure. I am letting the rinseless wash in the bucket do the work for me. Folks, I'm telling you, this really works. It is super simple. And you have two sides, right? So I've got the black side. Oh my gosh, I just did that rear quarter. Now I'm gonna take the red side, and I kind of know where I'm at. It just helps me keep track of where I'm at during the detail. It sounds like something that, why would you need that? You need to pay attention. It's just to make life easier, right? Eliminate as many chances as you can to work harder or to make a mistake.
And you said, you know, key word there, why don't you just pay attention? Well, some of us have these things called kids, phones, lots of distractions. So if you know where you are intuitively without having to think about it, when you get those distractions, well, it makes life easier.
You know what I like to do, Ivan? I like to have two Legacy sponges in the bucket, and I just simply dunk one, and then I move on to the next one after. I know you don't need to do that. I feel like saving those 3 seconds is saving me time, and then all the sponge has to do is get in the bucket for it to start to drop that dirt. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, so let me just finish rinsing here so we don't have the sound of the flowing water. Basically what's happening is when the sponge grabs that dirt, and let me grab some dirt off a sponge, off the back of the vehicle here, if we still have any. Because definitely the back of this was the dirtiest spot. So here we go. I have some dirt on this sponge. You can see it, it's there. The way the sponge is engineered and the way the rinseless wash works with it is that as soon as I dunk this in the bucket, lift it off, and we have a clean sponge again. So the sponge is designed to not only attract the dirt, but release it just as quickly. So combining it with the rinseless wash, we're good to go. Now, I don't know if you can hear it on through our microphones, but our neighbor's been having an alarm problem for the last couple days, and the alarm just keeps going off.
Car alarm.
No, that's a building alarm, actually.
Oh, so some shady stuff could be going down.
Actually, I had that in my detailing shop once. The alarm kept going off. It was a spider going in front of a motion detector.
Are you serious?
Yep. When a spider is an inch away from a motion detector, it looks really big to that motion detector. So I've used both sides of my sponge. Back to the bucket it goes. And comes out clean. One thing that's important, safety. So when you're doing the roof of your vehicle, get yourself one of these little ladders if you have a tall SUV like this.
See, my default, Ivan, and I stopped doing this because of Mr. Ivan, is I would do this guy, right? And Ivan's like, dude, just don't risk a safety issue. Do not risk falling on you, because Ivan, you've seen detailers get hurt.
Right, and not only a safety issue, you're stepping on the person's door sill.
Well, I always am gonna wash it off after, but I'm very aware that my dirty, wet feet are touching their door sill.
Exactly.
It adds more work for me later, right?
Right, exactly.
So I missed just the top center area. I couldn't reach there.
Yep.
There you go.
And now from here, we're actually ready to dry the vehicle. There's no need to rinse off the rinseless wash, hence the name, rinseless wash.
These are some of my favorite towels in the lineup. They're twist loop. They can dry an incredibly large amount of vehicle. Now you can use ceramic gloss here. That's my preferred way because it adds a bit of protection. In fact, more than a bit of protection. 4 to 12 months of durability, super glossy, takes about an hour to cure. So if you think, okay, I've put this on and I'm done, wait an hour, it'll get glossier and slicker. But you've got the lubrication of the rinseless wash, Ivan, that essentially is its own drying aid right now.
It's its own drying aid, and also you'll notice how easily the rinseless wash dries off.
It's very slick.
Yeah. Super slick, comes off easily. And whether you're working outside or inside like we are, you can actually use time on your side. You can almost let the rinseless dry on the surface and then start wiping it off.
Yeah, dwell time is a very powerful cleaner as well as a part of the cleaning process. But yeah, does the longer it dwell, does it get more lubricated, Ivan? Is it working more on any particular possible dirt left behind, or how does that work?
Yeah, definitely. The emulsification process just continues forever. Well, until it all evaporates away, but you get the idea.
I'm so used to adding ceramic gloss at the end that I think I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how slick this is. Like, this is really slick.
Yeah, and those of you that are in a drought-prone area, well, we did a video on that, if I remember correctly, Nick.
Not only did we do a video on that, we're gonna show them the video right here.
Okay, excellent. When rinseless wash, first came to the market, not ours, but a lot of other rinseless washes, a little over 20 years ago, everyone was thinking, this can't be real, can't be good, it's only for those tree huggers. Well, no, it's actually for people that want to be more efficient. Yes, it's better for the environment because you're using a lot less water, but it's also great for your car, it's great for your pocketbook, and if you're doing this for a living, well, definitely good for your pocketbook.
Don't get me wrong, I love foaming the car with incredible suds, rinsing it off with a pressure washer. For me, there's just something satisfying about that. But if I'm in a real rush for time, or if I'm a professional detailer and time is money, just a quick rinseless wash like this, 20 minutes, you're done with your car.
Yep.
It just makes so much sense. So if you're living in an apartment, you don't have access to a hose. I'm just thinking of the DIYer out there, how effective this can be. Because a lot of folks email me and say, hey, it's wintertime. I don't have access to a hose. Can you give me some tips? And I say, you know what? It's gonna be all right. By the way, we have about 150 videos on rinseless wash. Let me point you to a couple, because we really care about the education side of things. You and I love teaching.
Yep.
And learning every day.
And those videos aren't just from us. If you go to the rinseless wash playlist that Nick is gonna do something up here with, it's not just from us. We have a lot of independent reviewers giving us kudos on a great product and showing different techniques, different ways of using it.
So Ivan, I just used one of these towels to dry, and I still have plenty of drying left. I can feel it in my towel.
Definitely. So same here. They're not even wet. They're just damp.
And I'll save it till the end, right? I still want to get all my paint first, even my glass. But at the end, I'll take this towel and I'll use it to wipe down the rim faces.
Exactly.
And after I've done the rim faces, I'm going to go to even a dirtier part of the car, just this inside lip. And again, this is when you're ready to put this in a bucket of rinseless or a bucket of all-purpose cleaner, or just put it right into your washing machine, because once you get these towels really dirty, you don't want to reintroduce them onto paint.
Exactly.
Okay, Ivan, are we ready to hit the interior?
Let's attack the interior. Part of an interior detail is these rubber floor mats. So we have a bit of leftover foam here. We're just going to put it on, and then using our wheel and body brush that has rinseless wash on it, simply brush these off. Now, if you've got a lot of accumulated dirt on these, you'll want to vacuum them off first or hose them off. But in this case, as you can see, they're not that dirty. Just had a few footprints on them. So we'll brush them off nicely. And since our drying towel still has a lot of room to absorb moisture,
Ivan, I will tell you this, if your mats are incredibly dirty, why not use that hose, right? You've got the hose at your disposal.
Yeah.
You may want to put it on the jet stream, get really close to the mat, try to blow stuff out. Just get creative in the moment if your vehicle is incredibly dirty on the interior. I like to give folks options.
Yeah, exactly.
You make it seem so simple, and it is, but just remember there can be so many variables on an interior, so don't forget you have that hose at your disposal.
Right, and don't put the hose inside the car though.
That's a horrible idea.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. Okay, so we'll let these air dry for the rest, just in those little cracks. And by the time we're done doing the interior, they'll be ready to go back in. So on the interior, I like to start in the center and work my way out. So I'm going to be starting with the center console, the dash, the nav screen, all of that fun stuff, the windshield, and working my way out of the vehicle. We've got Nick back here doing his thing on the back seat, and simply all we're using is a towel dampened in rinseless and a dry towel. That's all you really need.
It can be helpful to have two different towels so you don't lose track of which ones you're drying, because after a while, your dry towel could get kind of wet and then you get a little confused. Just keep it simple, you know?
Yeah. And we have, you know, the red edge towel to be the drying towel because it's a larger towel. And then the other one to do the heavy work.
So why in the heck does rinseless work on interiors, Ivan?
Same reason it works everywhere else. It's just a great cleaner. And you know, a lot of people not only use it on their vehicles, they use it, well, like you, for example, in your house.
I use it on bathroom cleaning, kitchen countertops, the stove.
Yeah.
It's just it's a great cleaner. I like foaming it on the stove, which can get kind of nasty with oil splatter and everything, and it works great.
Yeah.
It's funny how being a good detailer makes you a good home cleaner as well, which the spouse is pretty excited about.
Cleaning is cleaning.
They may not love that you spend a lot of time on your car, which is why this method is fantastic, but they'll love it if you take that skill into the kitchen.
Yeah, into the kitchen, the bathroom, you name it, the bedroom, everywhere. Basically anything that needs cleaning, pretty much, Rinseless Wash can clean. And in this vehicle, we have piano black surfaces, we have wood, we have metal, we have plastic, we have leather, and nav screens, all of the above. It's going to clean every single one of them. Now for glass cleaning, one tip when you're using the Rinseless Wash is to make sure your towel is almost dry. The less moisture you introduce onto your windows, the easier they will be to clean. And this cup holder has a bit of resistance to it and wanting to be cleaned. One trick is a lot of these cup holders, you can actually remove the little insert that gets coffee spilled on it and stuff like that, and just set it in your Rinseless Wash bucket, and from there, when you're done the detail, bring it out of the bucket, clean it off, you will have gotten rid of that dirty look. So let me pass it off and we'll put it in the bucket. Off it goes to get cleaned. Now the steering wheel is arguably the spot in the vehicle that gets the most contact. And this one's actually really nice and clean. We don't see an accumulation of body oils on it and French fry grease and all that fun stuff that can often get on here. We want to do a nice thorough cleaning of the steering wheel, the back and the front of it, not just what you see, but everywhere you can potentially touch needs to be cleaned. The other thing that a rinseless wash does is that it's super safe on all interior surfaces. Now, we've seen people use all-purpose cleaners on their interior with a relatively high pH, and that can cause some issues.
One thing I'll tell you, Interior Clean and Protect also safe on all interior surfaces, and it leaves protection behind. It leaves a little bit of UV protection behind. Rinseless Wash is a much better option than your all-purpose cleaner because it's gonna have a little bit more bite. It will clean a little bit better than Interior Clean and Protect. And I just say that to say, if you feel like Interior Clean and Protect, which is fantastic for light to moderate soil, if you feel like you just need a heavier hitter, don't reach for the all-purpose cleaner first. Try your Rinseless Wash soaked towel first. You may have to escalate to the bazooka, but there is an in-between step, and Rinseless Wash, if you want it to foam, whatever you need, windows, it's just a fantastic middle step. I think you're rarely ever gonna need all-purpose cleaner if you really listen to Ivan and I on this interior detailing tip, because rinseless, and it's so economical too, right? At 1 ounce to 2 gallons of water.
Yeah, so basically, if you want a dedicated interior cleaner, you can buy 1 gallon of rinseless wash and make 256 gallons of your dedicated cleaner.
Sometimes I'll use Rinseless Wash as my cleaner, and then for the final wipe down, I'll use Interior Clean and Protect because it adds that protection, kind of that OEM finish, and it cleans really well as well. So if I missed a spot, It's pretty great. So I kind of use Interior Clean and Protect sometimes as just my final step dressing. Because guess what, with detailing, you miss spots the first time. That's why it can take a little bit of time to do it right, because you want to look over it. Now, Ivan would say, do it right the first time, and don't waste your energy, right? Just be thorough the first time around, and you're not going to need to go back 5 times.
Now, here, just came out of the rinseless wash bucket. It was dirty before, it's now clean. So we can put it back where it belongs, but we'll get out the little remainders of what looks like a wrapper of some sort out of here before putting it back in.
Look, there's going to be limitations to any kind of method. And there's times when you need to bring out a steamer and an air compressor. A disaster detail is going to take you 20 hours, YouTube worthy. But honestly, you guys, this method is going to help you so much. You rarely need all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Ivan, you, rarely ever use the hot water extractor in your shop, right?
Easily 10,000 cars a year, maybe 2 got an extractor.
Detailers have a way of overcomplicating things, don't we?
Yes, they do. Now, this little center console here, that's another area of high traffic use. Let me just do a bit of a 50-50 here. And I actually picked the dirtier side to start with, but so we can see it's no longer shiny, and shiny leather is dirty leather. So we'll continue cleaning that off, wipe it clean, we're good to go. So now I've done the dash, I've done the steering column, I've done the center console, I'm ready to get off of the seat, clean the seat. We had a question on our YouTube shorts the other day about cleaning the headliner. This can definitely be used to clean your headliner as well. Basically, with a headliner, the most important thing to remember is you don't want to get it wet. The damp headliner or the wet headliner may not fail today, but there are chances that that moisture has damaged the bond of the headliner material, and in the future it's going to come down. Now,
yeah, you don't want to delaminate those headliners, man. Then you're in a pickle because you don't really know how to repair that.
There's one repair, and that's called a replacement. So.
Exactly. Hence not knowing how to do it, because it can't be done.
So don't forget to clean the rear view mirrors, the mirrors and the sun visors while you're here. And now I can move off the seat. Now we can see the seat, how shiny it is. And again, shiny leather is dirty leather. So let's clean that off. Same towel I used from the beginning. I haven't redunked it at all. Still going strong, still cleaning well. When we dry it off, we can definitely see the difference between the clean side and the unclean side. Just cleaner, it's brighter. It doesn't have that gungy, shiny looking oil, body oils on it. So off we go, let's continue cleaning the seat. One thing that's very important to know these days is seats have a lot more going on than just your butt sitting in it these days. There's sensors for occupancy, there's airbags, there's heaters, there's fans if you have a cooled or ventilated seat. So you really want to take care of the seat because they're expensive, but also you want to make sure you're not introducing excessive moisture onto a seat. I teach detailing in a lot of different places, and one often missed area, right here, the seatbelt catch.
I found this on the web.
Apparently Siri agrees. There we go. So this side of the vehicle on the inside is almost done. What's the last piece we have to do? The window. I'm going to use, once again, my just barely damp towel with the rinseless. And apply it to the windshield. Making sure to box in all the edges. And just like we said on the outside of the vehicle, don't be in a rush to dry it off. Let it sit for a few seconds. Let the rinseless do its job. Let it emulsify. Then using a nice low nap towel, once it's almost dry, air dried, then you go back at it with your drying towel.
I like to have the exterior windows washed first.
Right.
And that way I know where I'm at. So if I see a streak on my interior windshield or window, I know that it's on the inside, because that can drive you crazy if you don't know which streak is where.
Yeah, and one other way of knowing it, Nick, even simpler, wash on the inside in one direction and on the outside in the other. That way, you know exactly where the streaks are if you get any.
Sounds like good advice to me, Ivan. It's almost like you've been doing this a while.
A couple years. So now off to the door panel. Again, a very high traffic area. The door handles and the armrest.
One area a lot of detailers miss, this back window. Do not forget about this, folks. A lot of dog slobber can happen, maybe not in this vehicle, but it's an easy spot to miss. These tiny little windows in the rear, and it just adds that pop. You've got everything dialed in and you miss this. Customers are always gonna notice windows, and you yourself at home are gonna notice it as well. So don't forget, do not neglect the tiny windows.
So I've wiped down the door panel, and I'm gonna finish off with the window, get it nice and clean and streak free. And then the final area I'm gonna clean before closing this door and calling it good is around the door jamb. Now, we've done the door jambs when we did the outside of the vehicle, but the kick plate here and all this interior stuff, it needs to be cleaned as well. And while I'm down here, I'm just gonna give a quick wipe. The last thing I'm gonna clean is the pedals, because I know they're the dirtiest.
Ivan, I've enjoyed this interior detail. I don't think it could be any simpler than rinseless wash, a couple of towels, the legacy sponge, a drying towel. This is economical, this is fast, this is fun. And folks, if you want to learn more about a rinseless wash, where can they go, Ivan?
Up here.